Yeah, it's a good day outside. The sun not out too much. Oh, they spraying them little chemtrails all over the place. I mean, it's supposed to be sunny, but it's around March, so they can spray pretty good. They can spray pretty good and stuff like that, and the sun not strong enough to destroy them, but in summertime they can't. They're spraying and the sun will blow those stuff up in no time anyway. But I'm out here just, I wanted to read a little something through this right here. Where we at? I wanted to read a little something. If I can find it. No, reflex zones, no. Contaminants, no. Formation of a result of chronic disorders of the chronic visceral disorder. Oh, there we go. A little stuff I wanted to read on. So here we go. Was that it? I want to make sure. Okay. I don't. Anyway, formation of reflex zone as a result of chronic visceral disorder. They just kind of break down like kind of what happens, like when you start to have like, visceral, probably like certain parts of the organ, like, colon, stomach, heart, lung, things like that. How it kind of affects the skin, the connective tissue, the skeletal muscle, and the periosteum. That's more the, I don't know if you can see it because I'm outside. Anyway, I don't know if you can see it or not, but I hope so, But yeah, I'm about to just go ahead and, read a little bit of this right quick. But okay, here we go. Formation of reflex zones as a result of chronic visceral disorder. Yeah, I'm outside just chilling, just laying on the grass too. Man, it feels good out here, Let's discuss the mechanism responsible for the formation of reflex zones in the skin, connective tissue, for example, the fascia, skeletal muscles, and periosteum, in case of inner organs disorders, see figure 11. That's the figure we're looking at. That's more about like a neuron and things like that, the stomach, how it interacts, the afferent nerve, that's the efferent nerves right there from brain, central nervous system, things of that nature. I want to just kind of talk about that right there. So, for example, a patient suffering from, chronic gastric ulcer complains about the pains in the epigastric area, heartburns, gas, belching. These symptoms become worse after stress and consumption of spicy or fatty foods. These pathological impulses are the result of abnormal activation of the peripheral receptors. The peripheral receptors right there, bang, bang, bang. How it goes in this area right there. You got to pick up an anatomy book to start to understand that stuff. These symptoms become worse after the stress and the consumption of spicy fatty food. These pathological impulses are the result of abnormal activation of the peripheral receptors in the affected stomach, and they travel from these receptors through the afferent sensory neurons to the posterior horns of the spinal cord. Here is the spinal neurons primarily process the incoming sensory information. The spinal neurons and the posterior horns of the spinal cord act as a computer to analyze the sensory input from all peripheral receptors, which report this to the segment of the spinal cord and transfer it up to the brain. As soon as the sensory impulses are analyzed by the posterior horns of the spinal cord, they are conducted to the lower motor receptors located in the anterior horns of the spinal cord. As a result of stimulation of the lower motor centers, the motor commands are sent to the area of the original pathological process in the stomach where peripheral receptors were initially activated. This is when things start to These motor commands affect the blood circulation, the gastric juice secretion, gastric motility. At the same time, the stimulation of the lower motor produces the flow of motor, afferent descending impulses to the areas of the skin, the connective tissues, the skeletal muscles, or the periosteum, which are innervated by the same segments of the spinal cord as the affected inner organ. It's crazy, man, how organs, which I knew this, I've always known this, because I've always said all this stuff, but how they can certain organs, to affect, certain parts of the body, whether it's the skin, the connective tissue, the skeletal muscles, of course, the vertebrae, the spine. When people have a lot of issues dealing with their spine, the perioperative. This is coming from my medical massage book, y'all. So I get information off of here. I feel all doctors, PTs, everybody should come across one of my mentors. He's been doing this for over 47 years. Scientist from Russia. Anyway, in the inner organ, the stomach in our case. Thus, the reflex zones in the soft tissues form as a result of constant bombardment by motor impulses from the anterior horns of the spinal cord. These motor impulses were not originally produced by the stimulation of the peripheral receptor in the soft tissue. They resulted from radiation of motor commands which initially targeted the stomach. And that's why when you eat garbage all the time, or breathe improper, or stress a lot, or improper movement, things of that nature, overdoing yourself, overworking yourself, it's destructive. It's destructive. The constant flow of unnecessary motor stimuli to the somatic areas increase muscular tension. So let's say like you might have talking about this, the gastric, stomach issue. A lot of people with stomach issues have tight shoulders, they stay around it all the time, they stay around and they just complete mess. So it really affects, the food, nutrition, breath affects everything, but they're not really talking about that often. I'm just talking about it too. Okay, so the constant flow of unnecessary motor stimuli to somatic areas increases muscular tension, affects the blood and the lymph circulation, and finally causes formation of reflex zones in soft tissue. So people like a lot of skin issues, things like that, like certain rashes, certain parts of the body just can't get rid of. You got to realize a lot of these, the motor neurons are firing all crazy and everything. The brain's like, what the hell going on? The stomach not working, the liver might not be working, the system might not be working, and a lot of these parts start to manifest in certain parts of the body, with like skin rashes, things like that. Or if you athletes, they always, they might always tend to hurt a leg or hurt a bone, or certain muscles might be tight, certain parts of the back might be tight, things of that nature. But anyway, pathological. That's why the fruit is just, to me, just me. That's why fruit is just top of the top. Just fruit. Anyway, pathological changes in the reflex zones appear in different clinical forms. They may affect the skin, connective tissues, skeletal muscles, or the periosteum in any combination. As soon as the reflex zones are formed, they start to emit their own pathological impulses through the same afferent sensory neurons of the posterior posterior horns of the spinal cord. So, man, that's why I'm always saying we just gotta get out and move. Just stay moving, because once those spinal cords get the twisting and turning, man, that nerve power gonna drain, and then it's gonna drain when certain organs not working right, and then it's sending energy to other parts of the body where a lot of waste is gonna be stored, wasted, manifested. But it's crazy. These stimuli activate the same spinal neurons as the original stimuli from the stomach. See, these stimuli activate the same spinal neurons as the original stimuli from the stomach. Activated spinal neurons transfers sensory information up the brain and stimulate the lower motor in the anterior horns of the spinal cord. Hold on. The stimulation of the lower motor senses by the sensory form the reflex zones and the result of the flow of the motor stimuli back to the reflex zones, and at the same time the new flow of motor stimuli to the stomach. So it can get crazy as you see all this, and this is how it should go, the black line, up the brain. But for a lot of times it goes right here, bang, all of a sudden you come right here, reflex zones, because they don't get to go up to the brain, manifest right there, then it comes right here, they go up to the brain, get the same med, so it gets crazy. These motor impulses to the stomach were not evoked by activation of the peripheral receptors in the stomach. They are again the result of the radiation of the motor stimuli initially directed to the areas of the reflex zones in the tissue. Thus, the new and unwanted motor stimuli accelerate the gastric ulcer formation. There you go. You got to realize this. Oh, they're about to talk about it right now, so we'll start back over. Thus, the new and unwanted motor stimuli accelerate the gastric ulcer formation by additionally increasing the vasoconstriction. So, what vasoconstriction is more like, that stomach isn't getting that blood supply. You know, vascular constriction is being constricted. Vasodilation, dilation, you know, you getting the blood flow. So by additionally increasing the vascular restriction, the cellular edema, so that's when you become holding, you know, excess waste right there. You know, just holding it. You know, the kidneys not even getting rid of it. You know, we got a lot of vascular constriction going on. You know, you're not sweating it out. You're not coughing it out. You're not urinating it out. You're not defecating it out either. So the cellular edema and further abnormality in the gastric secretion. At this point, I mean, the vicious cycle between the original gastric disorder and the reflex zones in the somatic tissues is formed, and it supports further development of the ulcer. I mean, it gets crazy. So the reflex zones in the somatic tissues is formed, and it supports further development of the ulcer. So that's again kind of like, I don't know if y'all can see because I'm outside. You know, it's this good old light. So I just read it. This is nothing right here. But so methods of medical massage, you know, whether it's segment, reflex massage, connective tissue massage, periosteal massage. So massage is just not some, you know, what they call it, just go off there, you know, the typical, you know, relax, relax my way from life and do all this. No, it gets a lot deeper than that, man. It's, you know, once you can understand and do some things, you'll be surprised. But massage or the medical massage, methods of the medical massage are able to interpret the vicious cycle, you know, by eliminating the local abnormalities, spinal cord, the brain, and finally the affected inner organ, the stomach. He's discussing this case. Thus, the diagnostic evaluation of the therapeutic elimination of the reflex zones and the soft tissues are the major goals of the medical massage therapy. So I just wanted to just go over that, you know, kind of, you know, so people can understand and not understand, but just start to get a understanding or starting to rethink some things why they have certain issues, you know. So stomach issues, bang, all of a sudden your stomach not firing right. You know, we overeat, eating fatty foods not digested. We got a whole bunch of fermentation and petrification going on, and all of a sudden it can start to manifest in the skin, the connective tissue, the skeletal muscle. You know, it's going to affect our, you know, like we got all those tender points up and down your spine. There you go, right there. So I'm not saying the organs, but you know, whether it could be a whole bunch of things that can affect that thing. So, and a lot of these let's say like the stomach is, I think it's more than what the stomach is. I think T4 through T9 or T5 through T9, and it's on the left side, not the right side, but the left side, because something's on the left side of the body. So the nerves on the left side of the T's mean the thoracic part of your body. That's the most movable part of your spine. But for the most of us, it's so stagnant we can't move, so we just not firing like we should be firing. But yeah, so those, I think the T4 to T9, I can't remember. I can't buy, you know, as I get better, you know, it'll just come second hand. So as those starts to affect those part of neurons, that's when it's going to affect all different parts of the body and things of that nature. So we just got to just learn to, you know, breathe a little better, eat a little better nutrition. We always got to move. You don't got to force those crazy movements in the gym. We see them guys going off in there and knocking out 7 billion push-ups and 5 billion pounds on the deadlift and all those type of things, man. Just get out, just take your time, man. Just get out, just move, man. Just move your body fully. Just get out. You ain't gotta worry about the looks, man. Just first you wanna just get your body moving, rebalance your nervous system, and then get out there if you wanna lift some heavy stuff. Get out there and get some heavy stuff. But don't just go out there and just kill yourself, man, because man, this stuff can get crazy, man. It gets real crazy. So I'm about to go over here and read section E right quick, you know. Nervous system information of reflex zones, you know, phenomenon of hyperability, hyperirritability, things of that nature, phenomenon of facilitation, phenomenon of convergence. I read this already to y'all. I'm gonna go back and read this probably again tomorrow. I'll probably read this to y'all tomorrow and read this to y'all tomorrow. I'm only doing all this reading because I gotta keep improving my skills, man. I keep improving my skills, man. I gotta improve my talking skills, things of that nature. So we'll go over there and talk about the types of pain, you know, local pain, radiating pain, spreading pain, visceral pain, referred pain, morning pain, late afternoon and evening pain, pain at night, pain increases with movement, pain decreases with movement, intensity pain, pain patterns. So I'll go over and talk to some of y'all about a lot of this stuff also. You know, I'm just going back and reading a lot of this stuff again anyway. So I like to do those types of things, you know. So let's just say, for example, deltoid syndrome. You know, your deltoid syndrome, your anterior scalene, it's more of a silent killer. Your anterior scalene is more of a silent killer. It's up in the side of your neck. C2, C3, C4. I think C2, C3 is the innervation of the anterior scalene. Axillary nerve, neuralgia, you know, pain in auxiliary nerve, pectoralis minor. You know, everybody got them rounded shoulders, things of that nature. Osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. So what they found through their clinical experience, but these are the most problems, you know, these are the most things that happen to the most people with these certain type of problems. So people who have, like, you know, deltoid muscle syndrome. So let's look at something else. I'm trying to, let me see. Okay, for example, sacroiliitis. You know, a lot of women have these type of problems. So for now, you know, they might have that diagnosed with that. But then check this out. You got the disorders of the large intestines. You know, so you're gonna have to. There we go again. Work that reflex zone with the large intestines, so you can take a lot of strain off that. So that's gonna require a lot of leg work also, because these side of the leg muscles correlate with the large intestines. You know, that's large intestines, colon, ascending, descending, you know, sigmoid colon, and all that type of thing, transverse colon. So, and also the female genital disorder. So it's a lot of things. Even let's look at this. The rack. This basically the rib cage, base of the rib cage. This area right here. The rachalgia, intercostal nerve, neuralgia, and hepatic. That's liver. Hepatic means liver. And pancreatic, you know. So it's crazy how a lot of these things they correlate and affect each other, man. So we just gotta just take our time and, you know, sit back and learn. But man, I love this stuff, y'all, man. I'm not really a scientific person. I do a lot of things naturally, but I still like to sit back and read sometimes and just do some things and you know, just sometimes get more of an understanding of what I've already know, because it really helps me, you know. So, like I got some big things planned for y'all, man. Of course, I still love my training. That ain't gonna never go, man. You know, I'm gonna get back in the gym one day, but right now I'm just outside chilling. I want to, you know, do a little reading for y'all. So I'm about to be out, y'all, man. Y'all all have a good day. I'm out.